Hello and welcome to Web 110, HTML and CSS. I'm your professor for this class. My name's Whitney Bandel. And in this first video, I'm going to be going over where you can find the syllabus information and the general course information and kind of general guidelines. And then I'm going to give you a couple of other videos that you'll need to watch for the rest of the lectures for this week. And every week you're going to get a list of different videos. Right now what you have on the screen, what I'm sharing with you, it's not necessarily going to be your exact course, but your course shell on campus should look something similar to this. So this will be kind of a general guideline for it. So you'll log in. There's going to be a getting started section, which hopefully you'll have found because that's where you'll find this video. I got a list of resources, and then you'll notice that every single week is broken down into its own module. Some of them are going to seem like they've got a ton of content. That's fine. Just kind of go through each thing bit by bit. I would suggest starting with any videos first, because a lot of the content that you'll find under each of the weeks is going to be talked about. And it might not be a matter of needing to actually look in depth at each link. It's just knowing where all the resources are so you can go back and you can take a look at it. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So first, we'll take a bit of a look at the syllabus. So again, this might look a little bit different than yours, but just some general information. It tells you what the course name is, the section that you're in, when you're taking this. Next, it has my contact information. So my email, my phone number. Now, you're probably taking this class during the summer, and so I don't have typical office hours. I'm not sitting in my office during regular business hours, so chances are you can call me at this number. You can leave a voicemail, and it'll send me an email, and it'll let me know that somebody called. But if you really want to get a hold of me, the best way to do that is going to be send me an email and then tell me that you would like to meet. And then I can either work with you to find a time that we could meet face to face, or we could also meet over Zoom. And Zoom will kind of be an easier option rather than calling me on my office phone, just because I'm not going to often go to the office over the summer. But I've got my office location on here, so if you do want to meet face to face, if we can schedule a time to do that, I'd be happy to meet with you face to face. And then I've got my Zoom personal meeting room where you can tell me when a time to meet with you would work and we could meet using Zoom. I haven't actually gotten word on the current safety guidelines, so this part might look a little bit different for you. It just kind of depends on whatever is the most current thing that the campus has. So as of right now, and it's May 24th, 2022, this is the current safety guidelines, but you want to make sure that you look at your own syllabus and then you look on the campus website. My availability, I just really ask that you give me a day to respond to emails. Typically, I try to make myself available during regular business hours, but since it's the summer, my availability might be a little bit different. But if you give me a day to respond, I should get back to you. I, of course, may get back to you sooner than that, but it's just not guaranteed necessarily. And then same thing, you're free to schedule appointments with me face-to-face or over Zoom. Again, give me a little bit of time so I can get back to you on that. Course information. So this course runs from June 8th to July 28th. And it's all an online class, which means there's not going to be scheduled times to meet over Zoom. It's all going to be pre-recorded videos. All of the content should be open and available for you to look at. In theory, you could go through the material quicker if you wanted to. If you have enough time that you could just kind of blitz through everything, that would be okay. I'm going to grade everyone's work at the same time though, so that way I make sure that I'm in the same mindset as I'm grading everyone. So even if you want to work ahead, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be grading ahead as well, because I want to make sure I grade everyone's work at the same time. But you're welcome to work ahead if you want to. Credits, 3 credits, prerequisites, there aren't any. We're going to be using the 6th edition of the book, And what I try to do with these videos is every time we have a new edition, I record new videos for that edition. So even if this video might be a little outdated by the time that you're watching it, it's still everything is going to be relevant to the 6th edition. If you want to, you can always go and you can watch my old videos for the 5th edition or the 4th edition. There's going to be a lot of things that are really similar, but you do want to make sure that you get this 6th edition of the book, because the book is constantly updating and there's significant changes, especially between the 4th edition and the 5th edition, but even between the 5th and the 6th edition. They're always getting updated. So make sure you get the right copy of the book. You're going to need to have some type of text editor. I'm going to cover that, I think, in a different video, but this is my recommendation for different text editors. So I really prefer to use Visual Studio Code. In this set of videos, I think that's what I'm going to be using. So if you want to use the same text editor as what I'm using, I would recommend using Visual Studio Code. You can use it on Mac, Windows, Linux. So it's really accessible. It gives you a lot of options for using it. My next recommendation would probably be Sublime, and there's a free version and a paid version. The only annoyance is with the free version, it's always asking you to upgrade, which is, it's a minor inconvenience. I've got some older videos that I recorded in Sublime. So if you ever watch any of my other videos, you might see me using that. And if you prefer to have if you prefer to use Sublime and you want to watch the older videos, you could do that. Brackets is another really good option. These are all ones that we also have in the computer labs at school. So that's also why I'm recommending them. There's plenty of other ones too. Like there's Atom. I've had students say that they like using that. You could be using Notepad++. That one you can only use on Windows computers. So there's other ones that you can use as well. No Dreamweaver or anything like that. I want just a nice basic text editor where you're going to be doing all the work yourself. All right, and then you're going to need FileZilla. I'm going to have a video that's going to talk just about FileZilla, how to make sure that you download it correctly and get everything installed right. I just want to warn you, when you're working with FileZilla, if you are using a VPN, whether it's for a different class or it's personal use, I have had some students have difficulty with logging into FileZilla, getting their files to upload to the student server space correctly. And so what they had to do was turn off their VPN, work with FileZilla, turn it back on. But every once in a while, there will be a student who just has some issues. And if you encounter anything like that, you can always go on a campus and you can go to the computer labs on campus and you can use the FileZilla on those computers to upload your files. I know it's kind of an inconvenience to have to do that, but there is that option if you need to. And then same thing, if you need a nice quiet space to work, you can come and work on the computers up in the computer labs on campus, and they're going to have all the software that you're going to need. You're also going to need student server space, which should be set up for you just by you enrolling in the class. And I'm going to have this again in another video, but a way for you to tell is if you type in students with an S at the end, students.jccc.edu, and then / your username, so in my case wbandel, and then index.html. And technically you should also have the http : / but so long as you have the rest, it should show up fine, and you'll end up having this JCCC Hello World message. So it should look exactly like this. You would just want to change out your username to what yours is. So that's going to be one of the very first things that you do for your homework, is just making sure that this actually works. Every once in a while, there will be maybe one student where maybe their space didn't get set up right. Maybe it's a matter of like enrolling in the class a little bit later, or maybe you took another class that used the server space, and so your space exists, but it's more of a matter of this particular file called index has been replaced with something else, or maybe it's gotten deleted and it no longer exists. So if for some reason you aren't having this isn't working for you, contact me first, and I can meet with you like over Zoom or something, and we can troubleshoot and figure out why this isn't showing up. And then every once in a while, we'll elevate it to tech support and we'll see if they can kind of help out with things. But if you try to talk to tech support, the first thing they're going to do is have you come and talk to me anyways. So you'll want to make sure you have that working. And the rest of this is really straightforward. You can read this on your own. Course description information, course objectives, breakdown. And I know this is going to look like a lot of information, but we're going to just go chapter by chapter and just kind of go through every single thing that's in the chapter. If you want to go through and read through the course descriptions on the catalog as it's listed on the school's website, I got a link there. Now this next part is just saying that all information is going to get passed through Canvas. You're going to be able to find everything on Canvas. Any sort of announcements that I send out are going to be through Canvas. As far as like sending me messages, I do prefer if you send me emails rather than sending me messages on Canvas. And that's just because sometimes, like in the past, I've had it where some messages didn't forward to my email from Canvas very well. Or if you're wanting to send me your files, I found that attachments are a little bit more annoying to send through Canvas, just because if I try to reply and attach those files back, it just doesn't always attach very well. So I prefer that you send me messages directly through email, but it's not the end of the world if you send it on Canvas. Your grades are going to get posted on Canvas. I try to grade things. It's going to depend a little bit, but I try to grade things within a couple of days of when you turn it in. The assignments you're going to have are going to build off of each other, and so it's very important for you to get feedback on your assignments so you can know what you need to do to change it before you go on to the next assignment. So I try to get everything graded within about 2 days or so. Things might get a little bit busy around the midterm. But if you ever have any questions, just send me an email and I should be grading everything in a timely fashion so you can get that feedback. Make sure that you know how to look at the rubrics for your assignments. I know it's kind of a little bit indirect for all of you, and we can look at that at a future point, but when you go to your assignments and you look at your actual submissions, you should be in the top right corner. You should be able to see something about going and looking at your previous submission. Or if you go to your assignments page, you should be able to preview all of your assignments that have been graded, and you should be able to see a little icon next to it that will show you the rubric. You want to be able to actually go into the rubrics for the assignments. I'm going to have different criteria for it, and I'll put all of the comments for different things that you need to change. Canvas has it a little bit indirect, but I will be giving you feedback in the rubric. And then if you have further questions, like if you don't quite understand what I'm saying in the rubric, you could always ask to talk to me, and I can help explain what my notes mean. Computer literacy expectations. Students will need basic word processing and internet searching skills. I've got my breakdown here for points, homework and projects 40%, quizzes 30%, final website 30%. And I make the whole class 1,000 points, so it's pretty easy to be able to figure out how much things are going to be. So the final website is going to be 300 points. Participation online is mandatory. While this class is online and has no official meeting time during the week, you will be required to participate in activities and projects on a weekly basis. Failure to log in and participate for more than a week will negatively impact your grade. If you're having issues with accessing the content or participating in coursework, it is your responsibility to notify me as soon as possible. Excessive lack of participation will obviously affect the quality of your work. Your consistent presence and contributions through industrious learning behavior will significantly impact your grade. You will be required to watch video lectures, complete activities, take quizzes, and submit work on a weekly basis. And then I've got a link here for more information. The next areas are about withdrawal. So faculty initiated withdrawal, that's for the first week. And so if I see that you haven't participated online in the first week, and that's going to be logging into Canvas, looking at the different materials on Canvas, I'm going to assume that means that you aren't here, and I'll record you as having non-attendance, and you might get withdrawn the first week. So make sure that you're interacting with the content. And then these next ones, student initiated withdrawal, that's going to be before the drop deadline if you want to withdraw from the class. Faculty initiated withdrawal for excessive course absences. So this is going to be if you are not turning in assignments, not taking quizzes. I can see when people are logging into Canvas. So if I see that you haven't logged in for like 3 weeks straight, I'm going to start sending you an email and just kind of let you know, hey, I've noticed that you've missed a lot of class. I think you're falling behind. There's a good potential that you might have a hard time passing the class. You might want to consider withdrawing. And I'll reach out and contact you. And if it gets to a point where I feel like you've just missed too much of the class to be able to be successful in the course, and you just haven't turned in any of the work, and you're not signing into Canvas, I may withdraw you from the class, but that would be after reaching out to you. So I'd really encourage you to read through this so you have kind of a good understanding of that and what that process would look like. Etiquette. Being a part of this class requires being respectful and displaying proper behavior towards others oneself in the classroom environment. This includes being respectful of the property of others, as well as restraining from using negative speech and attitude towards others. We want to create a positive learning environment where people can work together to be successful. All right, so this next section is on grading. Any appeal for grades must be brought to the instructor during office hours or at a scheduled time that's convenient. I'm not going to try to dodge you or anything, so if you need to talk to me, I'll make sure that I schedule a time that you can come in and talk. Incomplete grades will only be granted for the death of a family member during the semester or a note from a doctor documenting a hospitalization representing a significant period of time. Now, this is listing very particular circumstances. Even if there's something that comes up that you feel doesn't quite fit that, come and talk to me anyways, because it might not be an incomplete, but perhaps there's something that I could help you with to think of other solutions that might fit your circumstances a little bit better. So if anything comes up, let me know and I'll try to help you brainstorm different solutions. Only if given the final grade of incomplete will additional work after the conclusion of a semester be accepted. And so I think of the deadline being whenever the final project is due, everything is going to be due at that time. Late work and makeup policy, assignments are to be completed on time. Each day the project is late, the grade will be lowered. That should say 1 letter grade. And then my grading's on a typical scale of 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C, etc. Plagiarism. I've got a list here of different types of plagiarism, so make sure that you read through all of that. Students guilty of plagiarism may suffer a grade penalty on the plagiarized work, receive a failing grade in the course, and or be reported to the college for academic misconduct. Academic misconduct can result in dismissal from the college. You must always make a reference to the work you are appropriating in the documentation of your work. And I've got very specific guidelines in particular for the midterm and the final project, so that way you know how to properly cite how you're using things. For example, your final project is going to be a research project where you're going to research a topic and then you're going to build a website for it. And so one of the pages you're going to have is going to be creating a credits page where you will give credit to the information and the images that you're using on that. So that way you make sure that you're giving proper citations. So when there's certain situations that come up where you do need to present your work in a certain way, I'll let you know how you need to do that correctly. And then I've got a section on student code of conduct with some links there to the student code of conduct as well as the student handbook. The next section is ADA compliance. And so if you are in need of contacting Access Services, I've got their contact information there. Counseling services. So if you need help with academic, career, or personal counseling, you can contact them. And I've got a link there for more information. Campus safety. Information regarding student safety can be found at the following link. Classroom and campus safety are of paramount importance at JCCC and are the shared responsibility of the entire campus. And there's some really great contact information here. So You can report emergencies to the campus police, who are available 24 hours a day. There's instant panic buttons and texting capabilities. In person, you can go to the Carlson Center and contact someone. There's a direct phone number line, which they have here. There's the GCCC Guardian Phone app, which is really handy just for even getting alerts like tornado warnings and stuff. Anonymous reports to Cops Watch. Be alert, you're an extra set of eyes and ears to help maintain campus safety. Trust your instincts, report suspicious or unusual behavior. Be prepared, identify the red, white, stripe building emergency response posters. And you might not actually ever go onto campus through the duration of this class, but it's good like to be aware, especially if you do go onto campus, maybe to use the computer lab or something. So whenever you are in a room, you will usually find these posters posted right next to the doorways. So just kind of keep an eye out, and you'll be able to see these posters, and it'll help give you directions for what is the closest location for you to exit. Like if there's a fire or if there's a tornado, you'll see grayed out different places where it's safe for you to shelter in place. So those are really good to know about. Make sure that you watch the ALICE training video, which I have linked here. Familiarize yourself with the college emergency response plan. And that's something that's really helpful too. You can go and look up the emergency response plans for all sorts of different locations on campus. It could be looking up the library, for example, and being able to see like what are the directions for that. During an emergency, notifications and alerts are sent out to students using email and text messaging. If you're automatically enrolled in that, but if for some reason you wanted to change the status of that, I've got a link there. And then there's our weapons policy, which is effective of July 1st, 2017. Concealed carry handguns are permitted in JCCC buildings subject to the restrictions set forth in the weapons policy. Handgun safety training is encouraged of all who choose to conceal carry. Suspected violations should be reported to the JCCC Police Department, and there's that number there again. Or if it's an emergency, you can call 911. This next section is talking about documenting student work for the sake of being able to share it as examples in the future with other students. So I have a website that I will put examples of student work on. And what I usually do is at the end of the semester, maybe, or potentially after, or kind of close to the end of the semester, I will contact people and ask them if I can use one of your projects. In this class, it would be the midterm or the final project, and be able to use that as a demonstration of what student work looks like in this class. So that way, students in the future can kind of see examples of what other students were able to do. So I may be contacting you. I've got a form here that you can go and you can look at when that time comes, and you can always say no. Syllabus change policy. This is just giving a bit of a warning that if needed, I may change the syllabus, but I really don't change the syllabus between semesters. If for some reason, if something were to come up, this shouldn't be the case because this class is online, but I've had classes before that I was teaching face-to-face, and let's say that I was sick and I couldn't get a sub for the class. Maybe it's a matter of changing the timeline and pushing things back a week. Maybe it would be dropping a project just because we're kind of running out of time, and in order for students to do their best quality work, they need more time on fewer projects. So I might change things, but the only things I do change are things that are related to the timeline. I have changed things a little bit before with my contact information to help clarify my availability so that people would know when the best time to contact me is. But as far as anything else, I don't change my syllabus between semesters. But there is a small chance that there could be something that might get changed in the timeline. So just be aware of that. If anything is changed, it's always done to try to make the rest of the semester go smoother for everyone. If anyone sees anything that they think might not work as well for them, I'll try to open up the conversation so that way people can let me know if they anticipate something not working out in their favor. But it's never adding content like pop quizzes or anything. It's putting deadlines back or potentially merging projects together. Drop deadlines. So if you need to look at drop deadlines, I've got some information here. And then here I've got my tentative course schedule. So this might look a little bit different with the exact days of the week and everything, but the general idea is that you're going to have the course open up, and then every week you basically have from Monday until Friday to work on the work. And I have it really rigid like that just because the end of our summer semester ends, I think it's on a Thursday. And so I really try to keep the deadlines kind of towards that end of the week. Otherwise, normally when I teach the face-to-face classes, I just give a whole week for things. But this semester in particular, it goes really quick and it ends at a slightly earlier time where you're not going to be able to have a full week. So I try to keep things pretty short. So you'll have kind of between Monday through Friday. So that's where I really recommend if you work better on a whole week schedule, you could work ahead a little bit in the first week. But everything is always going to be due on Friday at 11:59 p.m. And then I'm going to try to get everything graded over the weekend so that you're ready to start again on Monday. So this will give you an outline of everything that you need to have for videos, reading, and assignments. And I would recommend that you do things in that order. It's kind of up to you on how you want to do reading versus videos. I try to have my videos parallel well with the reading, but I would probably recommend go through the videos first, then go through the reading, then do the quizzes, and then do the assignments. And then you'll be able to see how everything is kind of laid out from here. So a typical semester like fall, spring, we have twice as many weeks. So you'll notice that there's going to be 2 assignments usually and 2 quizzes per week. And that's just to try to break things up so that way it pairs well with the chapter. So each week you'll basically be going over 2 chapters of content. And then you'll notice with the last week, I try to give you focus where you can just focus on the final project. All right, so I'm going to give you just a little bit more of a look at what we have going on Canvas. And this might look a little bit different. You'll notice that some of this content is currently unpublished, and that's because I'm going through and I'm re-recording all of my videos again. But you should notice getting started video at the top with general information. That should be this video. And then next you should see a discussion. This is where you can just post general course questions, comments, concerns, anything that you might have any time throughout the semester. You can go and you can post there. Lecture video playlist. So I'm still on the fence on if I want to have these videos posted on YouTube or if I want to just have them posted internally using Yuja. I can see kind of pros and cons for both of those, but in the past I've put everything as a playlist on YouTube. So I'll probably put these on YouTube. If I do that, you should see a video playlist of that. And then I've got information on publishing your files to FileZilla. And so you should see a video for that. There's a document that is related with directions there. There's a link to FileZilla to download it. I've got links to different text editors so that you know exactly where to go to download those different text editors. And then I've got directions here for how you can go through and you can complete your weekly project assignments. So you want to make sure that you read through those. And then I've got a list of different resources. Now, this is kind of a huge information dump, and all of these get mentioned again at some point throughout the semester videos when it's more relevant. So if you wanted to, you could probably just ignore this and just kind of wait until it's relevant. But this is just kind of like a list of different bookmarks. So general web resources, links for accessibility, links for HTML, links for CSS. So there's a bunch of content here. If you feel like that gets kind of overwhelming to look at, you can kind of ignore that. And then you'll have each of your weeks is going to have all this content. Again, I would say I recommend working with the videos first, and then you will have a better idea of how to handle things. So I'm going to put all the videos. Now, in the past when I've recorded these videos, I've done one long lecture for everything. This version that I'm working on now, I'm planning on breaking things up into smaller videos, so that way if you need to go back and review something, hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to find that specific content. So you might notice a lot more videos listed under each of these sections, but they should be more specific instead of just being general. And then under the lecture section, you'll see a place for different questions. So if you've got questions on that particular week, you can go and you can post there. Resources. These are all of the things that get mentioned in the video lectures, and there are different links to different examples. Some of them we might not talk about a whole lot. Some of them we can talk about in more detail. It could even be maybe a student in the past has told me about a resource and it's something that wasn't part of my lecture, but I thought it would be handy. So by watching the videos, you will get an idea of what to do with these links. So don't even worry about those until after you've watched the videos, because most of them will get talked about in the videos and you'll be able to see where to use those. So I'm not expecting you to go through and read any of these all on your own. And then the homework, it'll have just kind of whatever homework you have for the week. So first week is going to be introducing yourself. I've got the reading of the different chapters, the first assignment, and then the quizzes. Each quiz will be over a chapter. So for example, quiz 1 will be over chapter 1's reading. Quiz 2 will be over the second chapter, and you'll have deadlines for all of that. Now for the homework assignments, I've got directions written here of kind of overview information, how to turn in your work, general website information, procedure. I've got some wireframes here, a breakdown of different tasks and everything. And what you're going to do is each week you're going to build off of the previous website, and you're going to slowly build this up into kind of a more and more detailed website. So that's going to be how these assignments work. And in addition to reading this, let me go back to the getting started section. I've got this how to complete weekly projects. And this goes into kind of more specific information. For example, saving your files. I want you to add comments to the top of each one of your pages. So adding a comment to the top of your HTML pages, adding a comment to the top of your CSS. I want to make sure that you spell check. You need to validate that your files work. All of this is going to make more sense once we actually introduce HTML and CSS, but I want you to have a resource that you can go back to so you can see all of this. After I talk about how to upload your files to the student server space using FileZilla, you are going to be responsible to turn in your files that way. For starters, you're going to take all of your files and you're going to put it in a zipped folder, and then you're going to upload that directly to Canvas. And then once you learn how to upload your files on FileZilla, you're going to be responsible for zipping your files and uploading it, as well as taking your files in the unzipped folder and putting those on the student server, and then adding a comment to your files to upload them. So this will give you kind of more directions on how to do all of that. And then you'll find the directions for how to do everything on the assignment as well. And then I've got a rubric here for how everything will be graded. So commenting on the top of each file, working hyperlinks, spelling and grammar, code validation, proper indentation, and then the content itself. And I'm going to fill out this rubric, and this is where you'll want to go to look for feedback on your assignments. So for your quizzes are open textbook and open note. So that's going to be all resources that are part of your supplemental reading. So for example, let's say under week 1, I've got some links here to section 508. I've got a link here to the W3 schools ordered list type website page. So any of these things that are listed under resources, those are things that you could use when you are taking this quiz. Otherwise, you may not use the internet or use other external resources when you are completing the quiz. This quiz is meant to measure your understanding and comprehension of the subject matter. No other resources may be used. By taking this quiz, you are acknowledging that all content matter has been written by yourself and in your own words, and that you've not received any aid in taking this examination. So even if you're using the book to help you answer the quizzes, you have to rewrite it in your own words. You can't just write it exactly how it's written in the book. Now, quizzes are worth 25 points. There is not a time limit on the quiz. You only have the one attempt. If you have some sort of technical difficulty where you accidentally close out of the quiz and you need to be able to open it back up again, let me know and I can set something up for you individually. And again, I would recommend going through the videos and then going through the reading and then taking your quizzes, so that way you're more familiar with the book and kind of where everything is in the chapter. So that way when you are doing this quiz, even though it is open textbook, it's going to help you a lot in being able to find that information. And a lot of what's in the quizzes are references to things that we talk about in the lecture as well. All right, so I think this should cover everything as far as just general getting started information. If you have any questions on any of the content that I didn't cover in this video and you didn't find it in any of the other videos for this week, make sure that you go to the Getting Started Questions, Comments, and Concerns discussion post and ask your question there, or you can send me an email. I think it would be a good idea for you to add it to the discussion, because then I can reply, and if other people see that same question, they'll also get that information. But if you want to, you could send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.